What is up, folks? I'm Budgetmonk, and welcome to the second episode of my Holy Roman Empire guide, Partitioning Hungary. We are beginning this episode in the year 1450, and this is immediately after the war with Venice, our first war against Venice. I did want to try to give you guys some kind of semblance of a linear timeline here as far as the events, while also trying to find that balance of actually cutting right to the chase. I'm going to be sharing with you guys this episode the most efficient and effective way to actually partition Hungary. Now, I will say that I will not scoff at inheriting Hungary for free as a personal union, as that is obviously a bonus, but it allows you to actually move on and utilize the same tactic against Poland at an earlier date. With that being said, even the casus belli to inherit Hungary through warfare is not going to satiate my appetite. Hungary is going to serve us much more well by actually adding land towards the empire and releasing individual princes, because this is going to allow us to hit those milestones in terms of peace with inside the empire, for example, at a much sooner date. Whereas if we basically had Hungary sitting in the bank as imperial authority that we can add later, it's not going to have the same effect. I would like to make it clear that at this point our aggressive expansion is very low, as I've been handing the provinces off to my allies. With that being said, I did intend to actually own Dalmatia at this stage, and I suggest that you guys own Dalmatia if given the chance. For me personally, Venice was attacking Serbia, and Serbia made that occupation and kind of blocked me out. The reason, of course, that I suggest you own Dalmatia is so that you can core it up, add it to the empire, release Croatia, and declare a reconquest war against Hungary, taking a total of 5 additional provinces for extremely low aggressive expansion. From here, I would also take 1 additional province to release Nitra after adding that to the empire. With that being said, this is a little bit more complicated than simply releasing nations. And for that reason, I hope sincerely that you guys stay tuned until the end of this episode so that you can see all the nuance and the complexities of this new tactic. In the meantime, while we fight this war here in fast mode, I'm going to be talking about the way that this innovative tactic actually came into mind, and it was throughout the Holy Broken Empire playthrough. My last playthrough is Austria, which was predicated on the notion of actually revoking as soon as possible, then feeding subjects, namely Bohemia for example, to large sizes and actually cancelling the subject. At this stage, that nation becomes completely self-autonomous. Then the tactic is to actually attack their enemies while adding those provinces to the empire via feeding a vassal, and to actually invoke a offensive war from Bohemia against the same target, and therefore taking even more land indirectly, as Bohemia will actually be inherited when you press that final reform. Inevitably, it did not take too long to actually wonder to myself, why wait until revoking to cancel subjects? Why not take land, add it, release subjects, cancel those subjects, and then they will add their own land to the empire? But also, you have the opportunity to use the first innovation established in our first episode to feed those as allies into land. Therefore, being extremely aggressive expansion efficient in terms of the reconquest, but also extremely aggressive expansion and efficient in terms of feeding your own allies rather than taking land directly yourself. In my case, I simply just take 2 provinces from Hungary, as you'll see here, where I actually add those to the empire and then release vassals. This does at least result in a short truce time, and it does allow me to go back in with that reconquest CD at a later date. In the meantime, we are going to do something fairly predictable, and that's simply going against Bosnia, because of course bridging out there via Lika or Dalmatia is an opportunity to add more land to the empire. Now you will notice that we've essentially been going from war to war to war, back to back to back, and some people were criticizing my last video, suggesting that they can reign in northern Italy, fairly consistently. And although I understand that, this whole strategy is predicated upon the fact that we have very low aggressive expansion, and therefore we can continuously be very busy by utilizing this tactic and go into different wars in different theaters. Of course, I will say that I'm really overwhelmed by the positive feedback as well from the previous video, and I appreciate that. So as this war wraps itself up, I will be taking the province of Zeta from Serbia, and the reason is because the Ottomans actually go in against Serbia fairly early with a lot of consistency, and with that in mind, I will be using the province to release Serbia and use the same tactic which will be showcased throughout the rest of this video, except in this case against the Ottomans. So having showcased the foundation of what should be done here in this theatre fairly well, I'm going to be jumping ahead in time again and again to actually demonstrate how things pan out in this theatre. As we go into the second war against Hungary, which is a reconquest war on behalf of Croatia and Nitra, I just want to make it clear for those of you who don't know that when using any reconquest CB, it actually disables the diplomatic point cost for returning cores. So therefore, by using one of our nation's reconquest, we can actually return core to the other as well with zero diplo cost. After we've risen the Liberty Desire of Nitra above 50 via the Subjects tab, I'm then going to break or cancel Vassal from the Diplomatic tab, and this is going to result in him having plus 200 relations, and he will actually add his provinces to the Empire. So as we piece out Hungary here, I am going to be taking one province myself, and you guys probably guessed my motivation for that. It's going to be releasing Transylvania, but in the meantime, as I core it up and add it to the Empire, I am going to be making a claim against Poland because we're not stopping here. We're going to go straight in and use the same process against him. After our first war with Poland actually subsides, we take the one province required to release Galicia by using the same release tactic, but not putting that war score to waste. I'm actually handing off provinces to my allies who have strategically allied both Pomerania and Bohemia because they simply desire provinces, making sure always to take advantage of that innovation showcased in episode 1. But as we jump back into our third war against Hungary, I hope you guys are really beginning to see the merit of this strategy as we are going in for the reconquest on behalf of Transylvania, which of course is going to amount to a lot of imperial authority once we release him and he adds it towards the empire. However, as you can see, Nitra is now prepped and ready to go in and desires land, and therefore that is more land which will be added at zero gris expansion cost. An important thing to take into consideration when sort of nation building like this and actually releasing nations is to make sure that they don't actually fulfill the requirements to form a formable nation, because almost every nation like this, including very small obscure nations like Ruthenia, will actually remove them from inside the empire. And for this reason, I did actually make Pomerania an electorate, because the likelihood of them forming Prussia is fairly high as long as they actually become Protestant. So if you are given the opportunity to select new electorates, make sure to be fairly deliberate with your decision. And with all that being said and done, guys, this is by far the most efficient way to manage the empire in terms of gaining imperial authority as fast as possible. And that is going to be it for our second episode here. I sincerely hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure to stay tuned to the series as I still have some nice surprises to come.